First words out of her mouth this morning. Get on the scale. Weigh-in time. It's like, what? This is like the Army's back. I feel like, so all right, dogs. You know, we have 4 dogs. So
that's you because she loves you.
Yeah. That's what it is. She is. Well, this is a woman who's run 5 marathons. She can't watch golf without doing some sort of exercise. She actually, when we go play golf, we'll intersperse, like if we have a cart, which we usually don't, we walk it. But if we have to have a cart, I'll walk one, she'll walk one hole. I'll walk one hole, she'll walk one hole.
I would say I've never watched golf and felt like, wow, I need to do some push-ups.
Well, you haven't watched golf with my wife, I'll tell you that much. So anyway, there's a lot going on. Obviously, in today's Newsday, there was a big featured article talking about monies raised, Blakeman's race, Rice's race, Bishop's got over $1 million. You, unfortunately, had to spend over $700,000 in your primary race. I don't know how much money you have on hand, maybe over $100,000. How do you, well, in one respect, you had to fight against a huge money machine the first run.
They spent over $4 million.
Did they really?
Between our opponent's campaign committee, they spent over 2.7, and then the super PAC that was supporting them spent over 1.3.
Wow,
a lot of money.
That's a huge number.
A lot of money.
I mean, one of the advantages of a primary is you have momentum. And you've built an organization. You've built ground troops. People are excited about your campaign. You've got name recognition out there. I mean, say what you will, all those advertisements about you, which now one could certainly infer that since you won overwhelmingly, that everything that were in his ads were false.
And you don't have to. The race isn't. The race is about getting the most amount of votes. It's not about raising the most amount of money.
Right.
You have to have enough volunteers. You have to have fundraise enough to get your message out. But the goal here isn't between now and November 4th for us to go out and raise $3 million.
And
we don't need to.
$3 million.
Yeah, we don't have to.
Right.
But we're going to raise the money that we need to get our message out, supplemented with the fact that we have several hundred volunteers who are busy talking to their neighbors to get them out.
Now you have a huge congressional district. I mean, it's massive. When you compare it, I remember looking at it back when I ran in 2010. A congressional district's big compared to a state Senate district, but you make it to all corners, all forks, everywhere, every town. In fact, speaking of towns and things that are going on in the South Fork out in Amagansett, I don't know if you heard about this. Have you heard of the Soldier Ride, the movie?
Yes, I have. I think they have a screening coming.
They are having a screening for the public, open to the public for free, out at Randy Lerner's Amagansett shop across Main Street from Stephen Talkhouse. They're expecting a very large response with this. In fact, Ryan Kelly, Larry Kelly, friend of the program?
I do, of course.
His nephew, who's one of the original amputee soldier riders, is going to be coming out, and he's already out, actually, and he's going to be fielding questions and so forth out there. So it's going to be a beautiful, beautiful event. The Soldier Ride, the movie, screening, free for everybody, starts at 8 p.m. Tonight at Amagansett. So, I mean, here we are sitting in Ronkonkoma. This is how vast your area is. You have to cover Montauk Point, Rocky Point, the whole 9 yards.
I'll tell you, we're all guilty of, at some point during our day or week or month, where we, might feel, sorry for ourselves because there might be some kind of, pain that we're feeling. And I'll tell you, to really put things into perspective, you see what these soldiers have gone through recovering from, losing a limb. Some of them are double amputees or triple amputees, and their strength of character to be able to, for several months, years, try to get into the position where they could participate in these soldier rides. It's inspiration. It reminds us, no matter how bad we think we have it, someone out there probably has it worse.
This guy, Ryan Kelly, Larry's nephew, he's so strong-willed. He trains helicopter pilots. He's an amputee. And he fly. It's my understanding helicopter pilots have to use all 4 limbs, and that's this guy is just unbelievable. So, it's pretty neat.
That's cool. And hopefully for folks who can make it out there, that they take the trip is a great way to find inspiration on your Friday night.
You got that right. So how about the message as far as coming into the congressional? Well, first of all, let me talk a little bit about state stuff. Cuomo, I mean, come on. Is this the biggest crock of crap you've ever seen in your life? I mean, come on, man. Come on, man.
Come on, man.
Thank you, Mr. Vice President. This was so staged, it's not even funny. And please be at least one Republican senator that says something bad about Andrew Cuomo. If it's Kemp Hannon, Jack Martins, Dean Skelos, they're all praising the guy. Every single time I see in the news, and a Republican senator, he's got fantastic negotiation skills. He's got this, he's got that. Skelos, I understand, is going upstate New York doling out money with Cuomo. This is very upsetting for the state.
Yeah, the NTA,
I know that's a boatload I'm throwing at you, but
well, the NTA has so many different ways that they can save money, and I really hard pressed to find praise for these participants in this process, as long as there are efficiencies waited to be had. And there have been a lot of comptroller reports that have been put out over the course of the last several years looking at the MTA and their finances, ways to save money through real estate consolidations, overtime abuse, the way that they do their contracting. And really, that's how we can put our hands on the back of some of these people and say thank you for your service, is by seeing some efficiencies, some improved efficiencies found within the MTA. That is a way to stabilize and maybe even increase service where it's needed, to be able to hold down the line on fares.
Yeah.
That's where we're going to find the praise.
I find it hard to believe that if you're making all these concessions, and quite frankly, the union did get a lot, so they're giving more. So the state is giving more to the union to operate the system that it's operating, and yet they have the gall to tell us in the report that, fares won't go up because of this deal, at least not now until November. And then maybe 1 year, well, let's let it go a year, 2 years, maybe increase them a little bit. I mean, that's going to happen. There's no way you can increase the cost of doing business and not increase the cost of the product you're selling. There's just no way.
Right. Well, and there were, as part of this final deal, there were concessions with regards to the union, the workers starting to pay into their health care, starting to contribute
2%. Come on.
Well, I'll tell you what was amazing. When I was up in Albany, as they were going through negotiations on this new Tier 6, there is a line in the sand that is drawn. A union leader has a responsibility to their members to fight as hard as they possibly can. And there are people out there who criticize the union leader. The fact is, there's someone on the other end of the table,
right? That's
signing off on all of it.
But isn't the elected official supposed to be on the other side, bargaining on behalf of the taxpayer? And how is it that the unions become so powerful that the union position is more important than the taxpayer's position?
Well, the problem is that instead of sitting on the other side of the table, it seems like they're sitting on the same side at the time.
Of the table, yeah.
And not all unions are the same. I mean, I've met shop stewards, CSEA shop steward who's been working for 30 years, living on Long Island, making $55,000-$60,000 a year. You can't really compare that particular employee with that person who's making $180,000, tripling their base pay in overtime. So they kind of all get looked at by some with the same frame, but they're not all equal.
Yeah, folks, if you're just joining in, we've got New York State Senator Lee Zeldin with us. He's of course running for Congress against Tim Bishop, the incumbent. Now in his, what year is he in now? 10th year.
He's in the 6th term, 12th year.
Yeah, 12th year. So,
which is ironic considering that I have supported term limits of 12 years, 6 2-year terms for Congress, and here we are running against someone in his 6th term.
Do you have any take whatsoever as far as what's happening with your Senate seat and how that's playing out? I mean, you've got Councilman Anthony Sempt. He had all 3 lines. He had the dump scandal over in Islip. Certainly at his feet, he was the liaison to the Parks Department. I told him months ago I said, Anthony, and I like the guy. And I've said this every time I say I'm beating a dead horse here. Guy's got a pedigree that if he was a horse, he'd win the Triple Crown, no hands,
Former Army paratrooper,
the whole 9
prosecutor.
yards. But the reality is somebody was sleeping at the helm. Things went awry, big time, big dump, big scandal. And I told him months ago, I said, Anthony, you really should step down and take care of this, because you put yourself out there. You asked for the trust of the voters. The voters trusted you. Now you've got a huge problem. This isn't only a small little scandal, some money here, some money there, whatever. This is a massive problem. And he said, "No, I'm in. I'm going to take care of both." Blah blah blah. Then this is what hurts us the most, in my opinion. At the midnight hour, here you got the Democrats already raised. I'm surprised she raised that much. You know Adrian, right? Adrian Esposito.
I do.
Yeah. $160,000 she's got, and probably climbing. And now they're struggling for somebody. The best the Republicans can come up with are two potential candidates. One was Pamela Green from the old McGowan years, and then you've got Tom Croce. Tom Croce's in a pickle. I know you know him well. Nothing personally against the guy. But it's when you run on your record if you're an elected official, which you just did. So Tom's got what kind of how do you run on that record?
Well, I happen to know Tom so well on as far as his character goes. He's someone who's just getting back from his third deployment with Special Operations. His first two were with Navy SEAL units. He's a commander in the U.S. Navy. He loves his community. He loves his country. It's an important race for a long time.
You can have all those, Senator, but still make bad decisions as an executive. It's possible. And what's going to happen is, and it's sadly, you invite the guy on like you always come on. And you know me, my show can go anywhere, and you don't care. That's why you're here. You're an elected official, blah, blah, blah. The guy doesn't want to come on the show. Remember what happened the last time somebody didn't want to come on my show? The guy who you trounced.
Oh, was it my opponent from the primary?
Refused to come on. And here you are, you're representing yourself as if you're going to, I'm the leader, I want you to trust your vote, and I'm going to take care of all the problems in Albany, and we've got a lot of problems. And you won't even come on a silly little dinky radio station show. I find that troubling to answer. And all I want them to do, because there's people you've hired, there's people you've fired, just go down the list. And maybe he's got a perfectly valid reason, because I have no reason to doubt the guy. I like him personally. But that's not a good way to start a Senate campaign.
Well, I don't have that background as far as him coming on this show. I'll certainly be happy to reach out so I could get.
Because the show. I'm fair. And if I'm not fair, you might say, "Hey, Gomez, that's a little, whatever." But I try to be fair. I give people. That's the idea. That's the whole concept behind the show, behind talk radio. That's what I want to do. I want to get people into the mix. We were just talking before you came on during the commercial. Up in the 3rd Congressional District, what, 3%, 5% came out to vote?
Crazy low turnout. 11 votes deciding.
Why did you go? Why did you go fight? What did you fight for when you put on the uniform and go to another country and fight for our country? What do you fight for? You fight for that right.
You know what was amazing? Because I was out campaigning, obviously, on primary day, going to houses of people who vote in just about every election. Yeah. And there were quite a few scary. There were quite a few people we came across. You could tell they just totally forgot. No idea that there was an election going on.
See, I agree. There's that. That's another reason. And who makes that call as far as joining the primary days? Why isn't the state primary date pushed up to June? So, because I don't know why they wait until.
There's a federal judge that actually moved it up to June.
Right. Okay. So the federal, but why don't we as a state, or I don't know who would do it? Is it someone up in Albany would vote on it? Okay. You know what? To save money, to make more people, so this way they only go once for a primary. Let's bring it all to June. How do we do that? How do we make that happen?
Yeah, I think that one of the concerns that I may have is the way that we see these New York City politicians and some of these special interest groups that play in New York City politics, the way that they like to meddle into our campaigns out here, we'll see it in November, where there will be people as part of the Working Families Party. They will come here. They're from Bronx, Brooklyn. They will show up at folks' front doorstep and make it seem like they're your neighbor, telling them to vote for my opponent. One of the things that I would be concerned about is if you move the primaries earlier, that you will have more people coming out from the city and starting to meddle in all these races out here, and they do too much of it already.
Let's quickly go to the phone lines. We'll take a few questions. We got about a minute or two. 451-1039 to hop on board. If you want some tickets to the Ducks game tomorrow, you're going to want to hang in there. Scott's checking in from Rocky Point. Scott, what's your question for Senator Zeldin?
Hi, Zeldin. I'm sick to my stomach about the day tree dumping scandal, and I saw that you took donations from them. Other elected officials have given back their donations, but I haven't seen anything from you yet. So my question for you is, what are you going to do with day tree's money?
All right.
Well, we donated the money as well, but thank you for your.
It's a fair question. I appreciate it. Let's go to Joe is checking in from where are you? Ronkonkoma. Joe, what's going on? Joe going once. Joe going twice. Let's go to Brian. Brian's checking in from Stony Brook. Brian, welcome aboard. Say hello to Senator Zeldin.
Hello, Mr. I'm
It's breaking up, brother.
I'm a care. Oh, no.
Oh.
Hold on.
You got a bad phone, brother. Call back. Anyway, 631-451-1039. As far as the momentum of the campaign, you're building on the primary. Bishop's got to be a little bit nervous because obviously that primary, the trouncing of your opponent, shows that the community. I mean, I think if one had to play devil's advocate or just objective, I think Bishop was successful because he was a local guy, and the general feel I got when I was around is people like him. But guess what? People love you. You are a local guy. Altshuler, no local guy. What thoughts?
Well, I also think that there are issues that are important for the future of our community and our country, and we need to be electing representatives who will be our voice down there, who we agree with ideologically. I look forward to having a debate on the best path forward to put our nation on a path towards fiscal responsibility, repealing Common Core, stopping Common Core, repealing Obamacare. As far as Sandy recovery, we're still waiting to see the FIMP projects getting off the ground. There's a lot to talk about during this race, and we are on the right side of all the issues that matter most to the residents of the 1st Congressional District, and for that reason, I'm confident that as long as we work hard, we'll be successful in November.
And getting the message out. Senator Zeldin, always good to see you. Thanks for stopping in, and I look forward to watching and following your campaign through the summer.
Thanks for having me back.
God bless. Folks, stay in there. We've got Dr. Margaret Ames coming up.